Quebec City. Their quarterback is 21-year-old Francis Morin, a second-year player who has put together a very young team. Laval's spiritual leader is 1994 Player of the Year Michel, a fifth-year senior who is the heart and soul of the red and gold. Laval's coach, Pascal Clément, is just 31, but he has Laval in the final in just his second year in charge. Today, Laval faces arch-rival Manitoba. The Bison's leader is first-team All-Canadian Scott Koski. He triggers the most powerful offense in the CIAU. The leader of Manitoba's hit brigade is Steve Welch. The fourth-year power hitter is one of a stable of Bomber players. Manitoba's coach is one of Canada's all-time great volleyball names. Garth Pischke has won 501 games in his coaching career. Today, it's number 2 Manitoba against number 1 Laval. The men's national volleyball final is next. TSN presents Canadian Intercollegiate Volleyball from the campus of Dalhousie University, one of the great schools in the Maritimes. Dalhousie located in Halifax. And welcome to the Dalplex on the Dalhousie campus. And welcome to the CIU Men's National Volleyball Final. The Manitoba Bisons from the GPAC Conference and the Laval Rouge, champions of Quebec, and both teams winners of a couple of matches here to qualify for the '94 National Championship in men's volleyball. Hi everybody, Peter Watts with you. Happy you could join us for this tremendous final. It promises to be a great matchup. Third meeting of the season between these two teams. And let's look at how they got here to this point in the National Championship. Laval with relatively difficult victories over McMaster and a great 2.5-hour semifinal with Dalhousie last night before the Rouge prevailed in 4 games. Manitoba, on the other hand, has surrendered just 25 points in 6 games, straight game victories over York and over the University of Alberta. And the Manitoba Bisons, who have won this national championship on 5 occasions since 1978, are back trying to make it number 6. And as usual, at great expense, we have brought in from Victoria one Victor Lindell to talk a little bit about volleyball. My friend, are you surprised about these two teams being in the national final?
Certainly not surprised that the two teams are in the national final. They've been going back and forth as to who would be ranked number 1 and number 2. Manitoba ranked early number 1, and then Laval taking over because they've both played each other and they've beaten each other. But not surprised at all.
All right, Vic, let's talk a little bit about the players, 4 of the key players. Let's begin with Laval, first of all, and the Player of the Year is a great place to start.
Michel is outstanding, 5th year, but what he brings is leadership, and he also has a special spirit on the court. That's what he's going to bring to that Laval team. And then the other outstanding player on Laval is Francis Morin. Francis Morin is 5'9". He's a former gymnast. Well, he's going to have to be a gymnast tonight. He's going to have quick plays and a variety if he's going to get by that strong Manitoba team.
Vic, a very young team from Laval. They've got 5 rookies and 4 sophomores among their 11-man roster. On the other hand, the University of Manitoba is a much more experienced club with 4 members back from the team that won in '91, won the national championship, and we start with a former national team player in Steve Welch.
Well, yes, and they've got the same team that they had last year, but what's even more interesting is Steve Welch comes back after a time with the national team to give them even more power. I asked Garth Pischke, I said, Garth, what would you say about Steve Welch? And he said, one word, Vic, explosive. Watch for him to come out of the back row. Watch for him to look like he's on an elevator as he goes right over the top of the Laval blockers. And now, when you talk about Scott Koski, he's the setter. Quietly effective. Leadership. Not tremendously flashy, but he gets the ball to the right places at the right time.
Can you pick a winner?
I'd say that right now you're going to have to give the edge to Manitoba, but Laval is going to give one incredible battle because they've got great defense and they've got a fast offense.
4 years ago, these two teams met in the national final. Manitoba steamrollered through the draw. Laval wound up winning in an upset in the final. What will happen today? We're about to find out. Manitoba and Laval from the Dalplex in Halifax. Stay with us.
Imagine your family in the future.
Hi, Daddy.
Michelle, you've grown.
Graduated, Daddy.
Graduated?
With honors.
Smart girl.
Smart parents.
Smart enough to pay for all that?
Freedom 55, Daddy, remember?
Freedom 55. We just got that last month.
Freedom 55. Life insurance protection today, plus a financial plan with freedom of choices for your family's future. Freedom 55. Only from your London Life representative.
Oh, I'm gonna miss playing with Fuzzy Bunny.
Not as much as you're gonna miss your hair, Daddy.
We got a hold of the Geo tracker and decided to use it to get to know Geo's roadside assistance.
So Scott locked the keys in the car intentionally for a change.
What are you trying to say?
Kelly phoned them, and I started the stopwatch.
Yeah, nice shoes, zebra boy.
And we waited.
But you know what? Not for long.
Because 27 minutes and 35 seconds later, they showed up.
Mark from roadside assistance.
No big deal, really.
What do you mean? Look at you, no big deal.
Just another day at the office for Mark, though.
Under 8 minutes.
They should deliver pizzas.
Arlen Barch, Marketing Director, Corel Corporation. Marion Marshall, Corporate Office Designer. Harold Lennett, CEO, Pimlico Apparel. There are reasons people read the Financial Post. Get the news with a business perspective and see how it can affect you and your career. Isn't it time you got it? Call today. We'll deliver 5 days a week before 6 a.m. guaranteed. Subscribe now and get 10 free issues. The Post's tabloid format is quicker to read. You'll get more stocks, more charts, more money-making and saving information. Columnists including Diane Francis take on anyone or anything. Check out the Financial Post Top 500. Even road test a hot new car. Subscribe now and get a free portfolio. Steve Coles, future president, DM Incorporated. Get the Financial Post, a free portfolio plus 10 free issues. Use your credit card. Call 1-800-267-8840 now. That's 1-800-267-8840.
It's a busy month of championships on TSN. The CIU has 5 national finals televised by the Sports Network. And men's volleyball the subject today. Yesterday in Winnipeg, it was women's volleyball with the University of Calgary defeating the University of Winnipeg right in Winnipeg's home gym by a score of 3-0. Congratulations to Marla Taylor and the University of Calgary, winners of the national championship in women's volleyball for the first time since 1989. Today, though, from the Dalplex, it's Laval and Manitoba in the men's final. Michel, the player of the year from Charlesbourg, Quebec, a member of the 1990 and 92 championship teams at Laval, is the power hitter. He's one of the key players. Vincent Pichette, number 6, a power hitter, 21-year-old from Hull, Quebec. He had 13 kills in the semifinal win over Dalhousie on Saturday night. Other members of the starting lineup from Laval, the setter Francis Morin, one of 5 players who were just a sophomore on this team, a very young Laval team in the national final. Once again, it seems like every year they're there. Francis Morin is the setter. He's a second-year man from St. Timothy, Quebec. Bilodeau is the outstanding rookie in the CIU. You will like this young man. He might be on Canada's Olympic team 2 years from now in Atlanta. He is a middle blocker, a 20-year-old, and he's a great player. Ghislain Rousseau, another second-year performer for Laval University, a middle blocker. He's 21 from Cap de la Belle, Quebec. And Simon Noël, who has been the player of the game for Laval in each of the first 2 games of this tournament, another sophomore, 21 from Gatineau, Quebec. The starting lineup for the Rouge et Or from Laval University. Let's meet the starters now from the University of Manitoba, led by Trevor Dimitrick, a middle blocker, 20-year-old from Selkirk in Manitoba. 19 kills and 6 digs, semifinal win. Darren Carlson, a middle blocker, 23 from Brandon. He too is a 5th-year performer, one of a couple of seniors on this team. Ken Cron has been a member of Canada's national program for a number of years, a 4-year man out of Brandon, Manitoba. He'll be going back to a national tryout camp for the national team at the end of May. Jules Martin, 2nd-team All-Canadian, a 6'6" man from Winnipeg, and a 3rd-year management student at the University of Manitoba. Scott Koski, a 2nd-team, make that a 1st-team All-Canadian. He's the setter and one of the keys to the Manitoba attack. He's from Winnipeg, a 4-year performer for Garth Pischke's Manitoba Bisons. And another former member of the national team, one of 4 players who was on the last CIU championship team from the University of Manitoba, power hitter Steve Welch, who spent 2 years with the national program and returned to Manitoba this year. So those are the starters for the University of Manitoba, Manitoba and Laval in the National Men's Volleyball Final. Laval, as the top-ranked team in the country, will be the home team for this match. It'll be Manitoba to serve, Trevor Dimitrick to get the game and the match underway. Best-of-5 series. And side out on the winner by number 6, Vincent Pichette, who had 13 kills in the semi-final victory over the University of Alberta on Saturday.
One of the things that the University of Manitoba will have to do is establish that middle early. Dalhousie was doing that quite well against Laval, and in fact that's what kept Dalhousie in the match against Laval.
We're a point and a half into it, made my first mistake already. Laval, of course, defeated Dalhousie in the semifinal, not Alberta. Vincent Pichette still had 13 kills in that game.
At 6 feet, he's a really fast outside hitter.
Steve Welch almost missed the shot, wound up getting a winner.
Simon Noël is going to be effective out of the back row, number 15. And for Laval to do well, they're going to have him hit it well out of the back row.
Scott Koski put the ball in play for Manitoba. And another winner that time for the Bison, Darren Carlson, 5th-year criminology student from Brandon. There is the player of the year, Michel Cazes, a quick glimpse of him. The best player in the CIU this past season. There he is, hammering that ball into the block. Number 1 for Laval. He'll be prominent today at the Rouge or to get a victory here.
Vincent Pichette is not intimidated by a big block. He's going to challenge it and go right through it. Even though he's only 6 feet, he doesn't have any worries against the 6'5" Manitobans.
Good block at the net that time by Bilodeau, number 13. He was the CIU Rookie of the Year this season.
There's Jules Martin coming through out of the front row on that occasion. He also plays right back and comes out of the back row quite effectively. Net violation called by Brad Barton from Halifax, the referee. International referee since 1975.
3 serving 1. Manitoba with the early advantage. Bilodeau with the power hit for the winner. And Bilodeau goes back to serve. 9 players on this Laval team, including this young man, in 1st or 2nd year at Laval. A lot of them have come out of Limoilou College, which is one of the great CEGEP collegiate programs in the province of Quebec. A traditional powerhouse that has spawned an awful lot of great players over the years. All but 2 of the members of Laval have come from that program. Good reaction at the net that time by Laval to keep that ball in play. And that time the winner hit by Manitoba's Ken Cron, who had 25 kills just like that one against Alberta in the semifinal and gets his first of this match. 4-1 Manitoba leads.
Putting it down, he said Bill Gadd, Vincent Massey was a guy that influenced him when he was younger. He said he really pushed him, but he pushed him to push himself.
Cazes with the winner that time for Laval. He's made a big difference to this program. 5th-year man, has 2 national championships to his credit. And that time Bilodeau could not get down low enough to save that one as Manitoba takes the side out, continues to lead by a score of 4-1 in the early moments of Game 1, best-of-5 final, the national championship in men's volleyball.
And the referee, Brad Barton's calling a carried ball. Jules Martin, the fellow was back there serving. I asked him, who influenced your career? He said, well, actually, all the people that said I could never play at this level.
That can be a powerful motivator for a lot of athletes. Great power slam that time by Ken Cron, 2nd winner in the last couple of moments.
The key there was that he had a one-on-one, and the isolation in the middle occurred when Manitoba's middle blocker held the opposing middle blocker. Same combination coming back at them, a little different combination, I should say, but the whole idea of the middle attacker holding Manitoba's middle attacker getting a one-on-one.
Ghislain Rousseau to serve for Laval. And a winner for Quebec as the ball falls out of bounds. 2 serving 4.
Well, Manitoba only uses a 2-man service reception, and Steve Welsh is part of that service reception, but in that last formation, they only had him covering a very small part of the court. Steve Welsh going across to pick up that tipped ball in behind the block that time.
Dimitric got the winner that time as the ball fell out of bounds. Good save by Manitoba. And the ball is long, as Pichette tried to get it inside the back line.
Pichette would be pretty disappointed with that because everything was going their way. The thing is, Laval wants to be able to win those long rallies. They want to be able to tire the other team out with their defense.
Simon Noël, second-year man from Gatineau, hit that last winner. He has been Laval's player of the match in each of the first 2 games in this tournament. And Cazes hit the winner that time. And Laval, after trailing by 4-1, has closed to within 1. It's 3 serving 4. And side out.
Quick play, he's just up into the air, and as long as he's in the air on those quick plays, he can just put it down. Doesn't have to be hard, just has to be down.
Morin saved it. Cazes got it over the net. And Steve Welch hit the winner, hit it low, and Noël could not get down close enough to get to it. Timeout called by the Rouge et Or, and we'll take a break as well. Manitoba with the early lead. Game 1, best of 5 men's national final.
In a far stretch of sea, the wind howled with all its breath and the waves dashed with ferocious venom. Icelandic water and cold, damp fog brought out the cruelest of coughs and sore throats. It was with good fortune that pharmacist James Lofthouse had created a medicated lozenge from all natural sources over 128 years ago. Fisherman's Friend, 128 years of effectiveness for relief of cough.
The curling bonanza continues on TSN right behind us at 3 o'clock this afternoon Eastern time from the Centrium in Red Deer. It'll be Alberta, skipped by Ed Lukowicz of Calgary, against Prince Edward Island in the opening draw of the 1994 Labatt Brier. Here we are in the Manitoba huddle, which is now breaking up after a few words of advice, instruction, and encouragement from Garth Pischke, who is in his 17th season as the head coach of the University of Manitoba Bisons. One of the great names and great competitors in this game. 2-time Olympian, would have been 3, but for the Olympic boycott in Moscow in 1980. Was on the team that finished 4th at the Los Angeles Olympics.
And it's my feeling that if Garth had been played more in '84, we might have had a bronze medal. But then that's just a little biased on that. I asked the players, I said, what is it that Garth brings to your game? He said, mental toughness. And he teaches us to win.
François Bilodeau to serve for Laval. 5-3 Manitoba here, early going. First game of this match, and the winner that time by Ken Cron. Veteran competitor, number 5, 4th year management student from Brandon. Good defensive play that time by Scott Koski. And a winner again as Cron stuffed it over the net.
Cron said that in preparation for the game, he does his imagery training, but what he does is he tries to figure out the tendencies of the other players. I don't know if he'd visualize that one, but the idea is that you've got to be ready if that setter is set close and trying to put the ball straight over. Manitoba having no trouble putting 3 blockers up that time. once Manitoba saw that there was only one place to go, they smacked up 3 blockers right away.
And Pascal Clement has seen enough already. He's called a timeout here to get his troops oriented. Any trends that you see developing here?
Well, just, again, the power of the University of Manitoba. And as long as they continue with that power, Laval is going to have to pick up the defense. Well, Michel Cazes said to me, he said, when you're playing
Hey, we're
defense,
just getting warmed up, eh? We're just getting the nerves out of us now, eh? Now we can
Steve
start
Welsh.
turning up the speed a little bit.
he said, when you're playing there, he said, you don't know where it's going, because he's going to go right over top of the block.
Okay, who we got?
You're looking at Pascal Clement, the head coach, in just his 2nd year running the Laval program. A former teammate of Clement Lemieux, who is the national men's coach, who is here today scouting the tournament. And they played together back juvenile and junior and college days. Pascal Clement started his coaching career under Clement Lemieux at Limoilou College in Quebec City. And in his 2nd year running the Rouge et Or, he is the CIU Coach of the Year. Cazes hammers that winner right at the 3-man block by Manitoba, and they could not get the ball back in play. So it's 3 serving 7 here in the first game.
Well, Michel Cazes is not going to be intimidated by the block. He's going to go through it. In this case, he caught them low in their arms.
So far, unofficially, Ken Cron leads the Bisons and leads all players in kills. He got another one there with a solid right-hand smash to the far side of the court. Manitoba to serve. Good job that time by Carlson. Sometimes the key is knowing when not to hit the ball.
Jules Martin. Garth said that's the guy he likes to have on the floor at 12 points. He said, will he be on before that? He said, Vic, I'll guarantee that he'll be on at 12. Whether I start him or not, it's another question. I'll decide to start him today. But that's a nice compliment when the coach says, that's the man I want on the floor at 12. And there he is.
Out of bounds, side out Manitoba. Back to serve is Ken Cron for the Bison. 8-3, Manitoba with the early lead here. Morin sets, and that time the ball is blocked, but it falls out of bounds. Steve Welch got an arm on it. It's side out and back to serve for the Rouge et Or is Ghislain Rousseau.
A step around, and Steve Welch doing everything he could to try and hold that ball in.
That time Welch couldn't get the ball over the net. 4 serving 8.
It's interesting to look at the service reception. Steve Welch is one of the receivers, but they're not leaving him any court to receive him.
Another winner for Noël. Not very big, but plays like a very big man indeed. Couple of points here as Laval tries to rally. We're trailing by 8-3. Closed it up now. 5 serving 8.
Well, there's a carried ball. What's happening right now, and I'm sure the guard's going to get ready to call a timeout, is they're trying to get Ken Cron to receive all of the balls and push Steve Welch out of the situation.
Let's go to the Manitoba bench and hear the message from Garth Pischke.
Dalhousie would like to thank the following sponsors for this event. Geo.
Well, sometimes
Johnston,
the public address system
Pepsi
overrules
Cola
our
beverages,
microphones.
Bods,
Hear what Garth Pischke has to say. Having a little trouble hearing Garth.
Well, that was Ken Ballard. He's been involved in volleyball for a good number of years on the PA system.
I think he's just trying to get his team refocused again, just to make sure that Laval doesn't get on any kind of a run here. We can talk about Canadian Hockey League action. A busy day on TSN. After us comes the Brier, and after the Brier comes Paul Romanuk and company with Niagara Falls and Guelph, 7 o'clock Eastern time from Guelph, Ontario. So keep the dial on TSN, pull up a chair, make yourself comfortable, and watch an exciting day of great sports action. All of it Canadian, all of it here.
Well, the service reception is breaking down. And that could be because the Manitoba team is trying to protect trying to protect Steve. Steve had to receive that. Actually, Steve put a good one up that time.
Set it up, got the smash, got the side out, got the ball back, still have the lead to the Manitoba Bisons, and back to serve is Trevor Dimitruk for his second serve of this first game. And that didn't last long. François Bilodeau in the middle of that front line is a cocky young man, has great confidence in his own ability.
He's in there, and the block is on its way down. He's not hitting quite a 51, but he's still hitting it fairly fast.
Now, wait a minute. This is a new term. I haven't heard quite a 51 before. In all the years we've done volleyball, go ahead.
Sure you have.
What does it mean?
It means it sets right directly in front of the setter, and the hitter's already in the air when the ball's set to him. Peter, I've used 51s before.
I don't think so. I think it must have been with another announcer. You've trained so many of us, you know, that it's easy for you to lose track, I'm sure. Pichette to serve for Laval. Good job by Bilodeau. Good job at the net that time. A great block by Manitoba. And they get the ball back, leading in this game by a score of 8-7. This is game 1 of a best-of-5 final.
There it is. Up and over and hold that ball in.
Ball was ruled out. It's Manitoba getting the point, leading 9-7. Steve Welch back to serve for the Bison. Braun hits another winner from that side. Vic, he has been deadly so far in this first game.
Well, he's got the short setter to go over as well. He didn't go over him that time, but you know, Laval is in a precarious situation there when they've only got a 5'9".
Block once again, set up for Cazes to hit the winner, but he could not get it past the Manitoba man at the net. 11-7, Bison lead. Oh, good defense once again.
A net violation on the University of Manitoba.
Terrific dig, though, by Dimitruk, number 3 for the Bison. Bilodeau back to serve now for Laval. Not very pretty, but they got the winner.
And Manitoba is having serious trouble with their service reception. Manitoba using a 2-man reception, and right now you can look out and you can see that the University of Laval uses a 3-man reception. And they're making a substitution. They're putting Marc St-Arnaud in there, and the reason for that is he's considered a perfect passer.
Cazes got the winner. Great set by Francis Morin that time. Laval seems to have been most effective. Let's deal with the substitution first of all, with Garrett Pott coming in, number 2 for Manitoba. And Darren Carlson will have a breather.
Pass ball, boys, pass ball.
Laval seems to have had the most effective attack when it's used that attack down the middle of the court. Good block once again. That time Noël got up there and took a point away from Manitoba.
Well, you've got Simon Noël over on the blocking side now, and he had to go one-on-one, and he was able to hold him in.
Good job that time by Jules Martin, second-team All-Canadian from Winnipeg. And he goes back to serve. Manitoba leading 11-8 in the first game. Oh, quick reaction that time by the Bison. Here's Welch. And another good block at the net. That time Noël, number 15. And Ghislain Rousseau, number 14. They are not as big a team as Manitoba, but they really jump very well. They're great athletes, are the Laval Rouge et Or, and they are very, very quick.
Well, they're going in the middle, but that is not a very well-timed and pretty middle, but it scores. But then that's partially because Laval is a younger team with less experience.
Morin sets, Noël. Hit it out of bounds, side out Manitoba, leading 11-9.
He's up there going cross court, and they might have tried to catch a piece of the hand. Sometimes if you catch some of the hands, you can throw off your back row as well.
Welch dumps one into the no man's land, and Francis could not save it.
Well, that's a good observation, because I don't think Laval is going to be expecting Steve Welch to tip the ball.
Cazes came from the right side and hammered a winner into the backcourt. 9 serving 12. Back for Laval now is Ghislain Rousseau.
Well, Michel coming right out of the back row that time. And of course, he feels quite a load on him, because he feels that with his 5th year, he's got to demonstrate outstanding skills.
Welch hits another winner off the left side of the front row.
When I was talking to Michel, I said, how do you dig Steve Welch? He said, well, because Welch goes right over top of the block, he says, I have to anticipate. I watch his shoulders, I watch his arm, I watch his eyes, I watch everything about him. Well, now there was an excellent step around by François Bilodeau. Imagine he's only in his 1st year. He's 6'5". And you see where he's going to be in a few years?
He's going to be in Atlanta if he keeps playing like that. The national team will look very seriously at him. In fact, there are 18 players in this tournament who are being invited to tryout camps for the national men's volleyball program in Calgary or in Edmonton for the A and B teams at the end of May. Another winner that time for Bilodeau.
Well, it was quite exceptional that Canada got through and qualified for the World Championship, because they lost to Germany in 5, and then had to go back through the back door and beat France.
Ball off a Laval defender. It goes side out to Manitoba. Ison lead 12-9 in game 1, and Steve Welch, who spent 2 years in Calgary with the national men's program before returning to Manitoba this year, is back to serve. Nice job by Morin. Little quick left-handed spike for a winner.
Well,
side out Laval.
Some people were suggesting, particularly the Manitoba people, that might have been a left-handed throw. Maybe kept his hand on a little bit longer, but that's an interpretation call by the referee. But I understand after the World Championship, they're going to be changing that rule so that when you do make your tip shots, you're going to have to make them like you do in the beach volleyball, which means you'll have to use a camel toe or a cobra. A couple more terms for you, Peter?
Yes, and you're going to define them for us, aren't you? Another winner for Cron. He's been deadly from that particular spot on the court in his first game. 12 serving 10. Aaron Carlson serves for the Bison. Good block by Cron.
Well, Brad Barton calling the setter. He's up and over, making sure that he pulls that ball in, and then Francis Morin getting called for a carry.
Another timeout on the floor called by Laval. 13-10 Manitoba leads in game 1 of the national final.
Tell your sisters, tell your brothers. Hey yeah, McCain makes a pizza for the deep pan lovers.
McCain Deep Pan Tender Crisp Pizza, the finest pizza that ever came out of your oven. A unique, gentle way of rolling.
Nedved against the Leafs from Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto. And after that, it'll be Florida Panthers and the Vancouver Canucks from the Pacific Coliseum. And all of that starts with the NHL tonight with John Wells and Bob McKenzie. 7:30 Eastern Time, Monday, the 7th of March here on TSN. In the meantime, the subject at hand is men's volleyball. 13-10 Manitoba leads. And serving for the Bison is Darren Carlson. Haas, nice little fade away and took some of the sting out of that smash and got a winner.
Cazes was very fortunate to get through there because he had 2 solid blockers over there. No one was held in the middle, but he managed to cut it through. That's a carried ball, yes. So the referee picking up a few of these carries.
Laval has trailed throughout this game. They have closed to within 2. Francis Morin serves for the Rougiors. Koski sets. Ron hits another winner.
Francis Bilodeau was looking up there as he tried to dig down. He says, where were the blockers? Where were you guys?
7 kills for Cron so far in this first game. And a great block at the net that time. Noël tried to go through 3 Bison, and there was no way at all. And it's 14-11 game point for Manitoba.
Good observation. 3 blockers, Peter. As soon as they saw where it was going, they knew they could put 3 on it.
Well, that time they had 3 on Michel Cazes, and he hit it right through the ball for a winner. Gets the side out. 11 serving 14. The player of the year, the CIAU, Michel Cazes. On again.
See, Pascal Clément is standing up, wondering what his guys are going to have to do to attack or defend.
He put so much into the kill, he didn't have anything left for the serve.
Ken Cron from Brandon, Manitoba.
8 kills so far in the first game. And meanwhile, Ghislain Rousseau back for Laval. Steve Welch got it over. Good save that time by Bilodeau. And it's ruled a tip ball against Manitoba, so a point to Laval. And it's 12 serving 14.
Vincent Pichette was part of that National Beach Championship team last year. And what does he do to get mentally prepared? He self-motivates and he does his imagery. The Laval players have been doing imagery since they started in their club program back in Limoilou. Now that's the whole idea. They've got to isolate and see if they can serve right on to Steve Welch.
Steve Welch is 6'4". He's a big man. It's a long way down to get a ball that's almost on the floor.
Make sure he's way back there, so let's not dig in too early. Make sure you're keeping the feet moving, ready to move, okay? He's way back there, you got lots of time to step into the ball.
We're in control here, guys. All right?
One pass, boys,
Easy
one
pass,
pass.
side out, no problem.
Let's do it right here, boys.
Let's go hard.
Relax. We're releasing on trap, basically.
What?
We got a pass. François takes off.
He's gone.
It's not even going up.
It's all right, that's just information.
Hein? Oui, mais joue milieu de terrain, là. Ça marche? Allez, tout de suite, là.
Meanwhile, in the Laval huddle, Pascal Clément has to be encouraged with the fact his team has rallied from 14-10. They have not led at any point in the first game.
So what we have is Ghislain Rousseau back there, way back, doing an excellent float serve. So it's like a knuckleball in baseball, and the ball is going to start to move.
Martin's down the middle, got himself a winner. Nice job on the touch over the net.
Jules Martin, 6'6", left-hander, second team All-Star. The guy that Garth wants on the floor at 12 points.
Great job defensively. Oh, and they hit the aerial. Steve Welch tried to get the ball over the net. Terrific job in the backcourt that time by Dimitric to save it, but Welch couldn't hit the winner. And it's side out in favor of Laval. The Rouge et Or 1 point short of tying up this first game. 14-13, Manitoba with the lead.
That was a great serve.
Ruled out of bounds as Noël tried to hit it. And it goes over to Manitoba, which has a chance to win the first game now. Leading by a point with Scott Koski back to serve. Michel Cazes over to have a quick word with Brad Barton. And a substitution coming in for Laval now as Sébastien Giguère, number 5, takes the place of Ghislain Rousseau in the backcourt for the Rouge et Or. Koski. And again, it is Noël hitting the winner.
Well, Simon Noël was very fortunate there because Manitoba read it, and And they even had 2 blockers, but Noël went off the block.
Boy, oh boy, is Manitoba ever having trouble receiving serve?
Right, but we have a beach player on there now, and this guy really understands the game. As a matter of fact, the coach says the thing I like about him is he does understand the game. So what did he do? He went with a short serve. And all of a sudden, the players who were back waiting for that long float serve found one coming in short and were in serious trouble.
Steve Welch to serve. Good save by Laval. Good defense. Couldn't do anything about Darren Carlson that time. 2 winners from virtually the same spot on the court. 15-14 Manitoba. Steve Welch to serve for the game 1 winning point. Oh, Ken Cron was looking for it, couldn't find it, and the ball goes side out to Laval.
Manitoba read that combination where Michel Cazes came in second. They were there. In fact, they even had 3 guys on it, but then the confusion occurred after that. So they had the first part read well.
Ghislain Rousseau back on the floor now for Laval. Cron, another winner. He's been going cross-court for most of the winners here in this first game. That time he went right down the near sideline.
Surprised that he did that too, because Michel Cazes was over there playing on that sideline. He decided to challenge him.
Ball is out on the serve by Carlson. Side out to Laval.
Carlson from Brandon, he said that Bill Gadd is a guy that influenced him, and Vincent Massey.
Noël for another winner, and it's all even at 15.
Big thing is transition. Play the defense and then play the transition. Laval is doing transition.
First to 17 now, wins game 1. Oh, another smash that time. Martin's absolutely buried it right in the face of Vincent Pichette, who is okay. Watch this, right there.
Trying to make a face dig. He's got to have a little bit more absorption on those face digs.
Cazes off the block, out of bounds, and it goes over to Laval. All even at 15. This is the first time since the game began that Laval has been tied. They have not led in the match to this point. And that ball from Cazes is out of bounds, side out Manitoba. And Ken Cron, who has been the story for Manitoba so far in the first game, 9 kills so far, is serving. And again, the winner comes from the left side of the court.
Vincent Pichette, 6 feet tall. He is short, but when he gets a one-on-one block, he can get by. He's got that experience from the beach, too.
Good save.
And they're going to give it to him again. And he went with a half speed. He just delayed slightly and then put it right into the corner, right into zone 1.
Rousseau gets to serve now for the first game. First time Laval's had the lead in the game and the match so far. And there's the winner, and Bilodeau got the winning point as he blocked the shot at the net and knocked it into the Manitoba court. 17-15, first game goes to the Laval Rouge et Or, and they lead in this best-of-5 series, 1-0. Great start to the National Men's Volleyball Championship. How do you like what you've seen so far? Stay with us. Lots more still ahead. The all-Canadian dinner at the Prince George Hotel included the introduction of a new relationship between TSN and the CIAU.
Part of our continuing relationship with the CIAU includes the institution of a new series of awards called the TSN Awards that complement our already existing TSN Randy Gregg Award in hockey and the TSN Russ Jackson Award in football. The TSN Awards will be awarded every year in March to CIAU athletes who exemplify academic achievement, athletic skill, and citizenship.
The winner was Paul Villeneuve, a fifth-year senior from Dalhousie University. Team captain, and he carries a 3.58 grade average. Paul received a $2,500 bursary from TSN's Scott Moore.
I think it's really nice that TSN has started this award, sort of recognizing not just sort of the athletic prowess that somebody might have, but sort of the way they might combine sort of all parts of university life. I was really surprised, first of all, to be nominated and then to actually win the award.
And here are some other award winners. Paul Villeneuve, again, for athletic, academic, and community service, wins the inaugural TSN Award in men's volleyball, and we congratulate the young man from Dalhousie University. The MVP this year, Michel Cazes, who you're watching in action today, #1 for Laval in his final season. A great season it has been in the CIAU. The Rookie of the Year, Cazes' teammate, François Bilodeau, 20-year-old member of the University of Laval Rouge et Or. And Laval also got the Coach of the Year nomination. Pascal Clément, in just his second year in charge of the Quebec City program, is the Coach of the Year. So they've won 3 individual awards. What Laval would really like to win would be the National Men's Championship, and they are on their way to that task and accomplishment at the moment, as they trailed almost the entire way through game #1 before rallying in the last 4 points to win the first game 17-15.
Smart serving. They were mixing their serves up. They were putting Manitoba in trouble. They would either try and serve Steve Welsh, or they would serve short, or they'd serve long. They were taking different positions on the court, serving float serves and serving spin serves. It's amazing, if you get really smart on your serving, how you can put a big team like that in trouble.
Manitoba has had a relatively easy time of it this year. They are 35-2 record. They lost only 25 points in 6 games in the first 2 matches of this tournament, but they are clearly in a dogfight against a Laval team that went almost 2.5 hours last night before putting down Dalhousie, but appears to have shown up today with an awful lot of emotion and mental toughness, and certainly the physical skills to go along with it. They have been a pleasant surprise here. Might be a little different story if this thing goes 5, but right now they look very strong.
Now, Michel Katz said to me, he said, sure, we played late last night, but he said, at this time of the year, he said, we're in good shape, no problem. He said, that wasn't any problem at all.
Simone Noël with the winner that time. As you look at the first game statistics, anything surprise you?
Well, the first thing is I'd like to know which team is which here, but service reception, I presume, was Laval at 2.26, which on a 3-point scale is really quite good. And that's exactly what we talked about. So that's on a 3-point scale that we're looking at, that service reception statistic. You see, that service reception would get him a 1 on a 3-point scale.
Manitoba keeps possession of the ball, leads 1-0. Oh, what a great winner that time by Vincent Pichette.
Pichette has a 36-inch standing jump, so even though he's only 6 feet tall, he could be very effective on that outside with a jump like that.
That time the winner hit by Manitoba's #11, Andrew Zarowski, who could start for most teams in the country except Manitoba, which is really, really deep in talent. He's a second-year science student from Winnipeg. Good defense by the Bison. And they get a point on the carry ball. So Manitoba continues to serve and continues to lead 2-0.
So the referee calling Francis Morin. Francis didn't get called a whole lot last night, and some people might have suggested he could have got called a little bit more. He has to make sure that he keeps his hands up there and he keeps them a little tighter. Sometimes he drops his hands, and when he does that, he's in trouble.
Jules Martin serving on the line, ruled out. Side out Laval, trailing 0-2. Bilodeau to serve for the Rouge et Or. And a winner that time for Trevor Dimitrick, who hammered it off the block. And it's side out Manitoba.
Trevor Dimitrick said that Jim Schreier at Selkirk was one of the people that influenced him early in his career.
Welch hits the winner. The ball ruled in. 3-0 Manitoba.
Steve hasn't been having a really great game, and part of that is because they've been picking on him on service reception. Sometimes that starts to affect the rest of your game. For Manitoba to do well, they're going to have Welsh hit the ball in. Notice that he was using tip shots early. Tip shots are not the way a player like Steve Welsh should be playing. And a free ball, and out of the right side, Michel Cazes.
You can hear the communication on court. It's excellent for both teams. It's no small reason why these two are in the national final, because they work very well together.
In fact, both teams suggested that that was their strength, their team unity.
Martins hits another winner. 3-1 Manitoba leads. And it's Trevor Dimitrick back to serve now for the Bison. Good block at the net that time as Carlson got up in front of that spike. 4-1. Another one. And Carlson was there once again. Laval tried to come down the middle of the court. Tough job by Morin on the set because the ball was over near the one aerial. And he got it in play, but Cazes couldn't hit the winner. Pascal Clement calls the timeout. We'll take the same opportunity. We'll be right back.
Recently, the Canadian Automobile Association chose one car for its Used Car Performance Award, the Acura Integra. Meanwhile, the Automobile Journalists Association of Canada called the new Integra 1994's Best New Sports Car. And why not? If the Integra is so good used, just imagine how it is new.
The good folks of Central Alberta getting ready to welcome the best in Canadian men's curling to the Labatt Brier at the Centrium in Red Deer. 2 draws today. The opening ceremonies at 3 o'clock Eastern live on TSN. First rock at 3:30 and draw number 2 at 10 o'clock Eastern time tonight from the sold-out Centrium. Over 6,000 on hand for each draw, and the building is sold out for the entire week. It'll be a tremendous competition with Russ Howard trying to defend the title he won last year and qualify to go to Oberstdorf. Be a nice little trip in April to go to Germany and play in the Worlds. And he's got some work to do between now and next weekend when the final is played.
I asked Darren Carlson what his strengths were. It was interesting. He went with blocking first, playing defense second, and hitting next. And right now, he's doing it on his blocking. There he was. He just got his hand on it a little bit that time.
Boy, Simon Noël is just hitting winner after winner after winner from the front line. Number 15 has been terrific for the Laval Rouge et Or in this first game in a little bit. It's 5-1 though. Manitoba with the early lead, and Cazes with the big spike serve is long once again. Tied out Manitoba, Scott Koski.
He said that Phil Hudson was one of the people that influenced him. Dakota.
Well, it's become a broken record, but that was Noël.
Watch him come through as the second man in, and you see the middle block was held, and Noël had no problem putting it down.
Koski went up and tried to set it, and kind of couldn't do it for Steve Welch. 2 serving 5. That one's long from Ghislain Rousseau. Side out Manitoba. Welch to serve.
Manitoba's changed their service reception around, and that time, of course, they didn't have Welsh in as a primary passer, which means now that Laval has to think about it. Who are we going to serve to now?
That one is long, as Dimitrick tried to bury it in the backcourt. Side out Laval, 2 serving 5. Simone Noël, I beg your pardon, for Laval. Good hit that time for the winner as Cazes hit it off the block, and it's out of bounds, and it's 3 serving 5.
Going right by 3 blockers.
Come on!
Good winner that time for Jules Martins.
Jules Martin said one of the people that influenced him was Neil Taylor. He said he was a basketball coach, hated volleyball. So I'm not just quite sure how the influence comes in there. But he said he influenced him. He influenced him to work hard. Yeah, a little net violation as that ball just touched the top of the net. When you think back in the game of volleyball, we go back years and years ago, we used to have what we used to call an assisted serve. So you could serve it and let one of your players assist it over. Oh, they had the combination going that time, but the misfire.
Good job by Cazes that time. Found an opening right behind the front line.
Oh, Francis Morin was the guy that was setting it up, though. He was looking around and really fundamentally saying, Cazes, you ready? Because I'm going to put it to you. You better put it down. The thing that Laval has been doing well is they've been running to the right side a lot faster than they did against Dalhousie.
Good job defensively by Noël. Here he is trying to hit a winner.
Net violation on Francis Morin.
Tough break for Laval. Some good defense on both sides. Side out Manitoba, 5-5 in game 2. First game to the Rouge by 17-15. Martins puts it in play. Cazes gets the winner. They went right after Darren Carlson. François Bilodeau now serves for Laval. Side out Manitoba.
That's Andrew Zaworski out there, 6'7". Now he's a guy that could be tagged a little bit later for the national team, and he hasn't been playing in the first set. They got him in there now, 6'7". Got a tremendous future.
Former national team member Steve Welch, number 12, at that winner for Manitoba. The Bison back in front, 6-5.
Steve finally getting up and hitting that ball, and I think part of that is that maybe they pulled him out of the service reception, so he doesn't have to think too much about that anymore.
Dimitrick and Scott Koski up on the block against Michel Cazes. Manitoba wins that point, leads by 2, 7 serving 5 in game 2 of a best of 5 for the CIAU National Championship in men's volleyball. Good job by Welch to keep it in play, and they can't get it over the net. Zorowski took a nasty spill back at court. Side out Laval.
Okay, Steve's going to be in the reception this time. Yes, and they give it to him. And again, Steve doesn't make a great pass. So I'm sure that Morin is going to think about going to Steve again. Look at how far back he is.
Zorowski played the pass that time. Welch got up to hit the winner. And
well, Brad Barton is calling a carried ball, which Michel Cazes is questioning.
So is Pascal Clément. 7 serving 6. Trevor Dimitrick serves for Manitoba. Oh, nice job that time. Any one of about 3 people could have hit that ball, and it turned out to be Simone Noël who was the last man to arrive.
And when I asked Pascal why he was using a 3-man reception, it was for that exact reason. He feels when he has a 3-man reception, it allows him to go a lot faster on his offense. Also has 4 different people receive or have the opportunity to receive throughout their rotation, but only a 3-man reception.
Scott Koski for Manitoba. And there's Noël once again.
I only had the 1-2 combination. Players have to recognize when the second man's coming in, you've got to make a switch so that you change your assignments on the block.
Good winner that time. Aaron Carlson, I believe, number 4. Ken Cron, who had 9 kills in the first game, on the sidelines as Garth Pischke has Andrew Zarowski in there. Why do you suppose he made that change?
Well, they needed to do something. You know, you lose something, you got to make sure that you're making changes that can affect your game.
Noël to serve, 6 serving 7. Oh, great job by Bilodeau at the net.
So now that's what I said before, making the switch, you see. So Bilodeau, instead of taking the first man, waited, and he just waited for the second man to come in. So.
That's it. And another winner by Bilodeau. And that ties the game at 7. 2 huge blocks by the rookie, the CIU Rookie of the Year. Garth Pischke's seen enough, calls the timeout on the floor. And it's 8-7 Laval in game 2 of the National Final Ball Final.
It's coming. The worst breath of the day. Morning breath. And ready to meet that sticky, pasty film head on. A whole different feeling of clean. A clean that's tingly, cool, and fresh as snow. Scope with Oraseptate. Its antibacterial action helps kill millions of morning breath bacteria on contact. Scope leaves your breath feeling noticeably fresher than any other leading cosmetic mouthwash. There's no fresher feeling. Scope with Oraseptate.
Rapproché, là, on touche à beaucoup plus de balles. Ça marche? Juste une chose.
8-7 Laval leads Manitoba. You're in the Laval huddle. Here Pascal Clément instructing his team. I would think he has to be encouraged by the play of his players. So started slowly, but rallied to win game 1, 17-15. And are clinging to a 1-point lead here in game 2. And they seem to have settled into a nice rhythm so far, Vic.
Well, he also has suggested that he wants to see a step-around play. That's the only word that I did understand in French there. There's a carried ball called, so Brad Barton being, well, let's suggest that he's calling them appropriately, in my opinion.
And again, the problem starts with service reception, and that's where Manitoba has faltered a little bit here. Welch has to hit the ball from deep in the court. And good job there by Vincent Pichette, who found another little hole in the defense.
So you're making a good observation. They served short. Oh, Vincent Pichette with the tip. Perfect tip shot. But they served short to Welsh. He had to play the ball. Then they set him again, and he just wasn't ready for it.
Ball ruled out of bounds. Side out Manitoba. But the Bison are behind now by 3. It's Laval 10 and Manitoba 7. Aaron Carlson serves.
Steve made a great recovery there in the back row.
And they get the winner out of Zarowski, the second-year science student from Winnipeg. Laval looked like it kind of overloaded the defense to one side, and Zarowski went where they weren't.
And he said Bob Ramsey was an influence on him, and Jim Schreier with the Canada Games team. People that have influenced his career.
I think the thing that has to be pointed out about both of these programs is that they represent 2 of the strongest areas of volleyball in this country. Both of them the beneficiaries of very strong development in junior and collegiate programs. And both of them reap the benefit by having very skilled athletes to work with, even as rookies at this level of play.
Look at that. There's another face dig.
Jules Martin. Bilodeau got himself a winner. Got the ball back for Laval. The Rouge lead by 10-8.
He got in there a little bit late, but letting the ball come behind him, he still smacked it reasonably hard.
Zarowski long that time. Point to Laval.
Well, Steve Welsh, you know, in fairness to Steve, he's normally played as a right side hitter, and as a right side hitter, he hasn't had to do the receiving. So they moved him in as a power hitter and then forced him to receive. So that's not his normal configuration.
Zoroski wound up on the Laval side of the court trying to hit that one. 12-8 Laval. Bilodeau has served for a couple of points here.
I expected this. Ken Cron's going to come back into the game.
And Zoroski comes to the side. Twelve serving 8.
That's it!
Jules Martin almost recovered. Jules Martin ending up right over top of the stands, and there's going to be a timeout called now by Garth Pischke.
Garth Pischke calls time, assembles the troops, and has this to say.
Do we forget what these hitters do against us? How many times are we going to let Bilodeau hit the ball to 5? Trev and Darren? How many times? If he cuts it back to 1, well, we'll deal with that. But he has scored that way 5 or 6 times. Now 14, cut the ball back to 6. That's a simple thing, but these are the things that we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be ready for those things. Okay? If we do that, we're going to force them into making some errors. How many times have we said that 15 hits the ball down the line when he's back row? All right? Andy, you got to take that away from him. Think. Cross court when he's front row, line when he's back row. Let's get our heads into this thing. Okay? It's a long way, but we're going to come back and win this thing. But you guys got to start thinking about the basics again. Somewhere along the road, we decided that we didn't want to listen to the game plan. And now we're letting Bilodeau crush everything to 5 and 14 cut back, and Caz hit everything cross court and score on you.
Let's go.
Come on, guys.
Let's go. Show your guts.
Let's go. Let's get it going right here.
Well, that was a call to arms, wasn't it?
Well, it certainly was, and one of the things, again, is that because these people do watch a lot of videotapes, they know tendencies, and what you have to do when you know tendencies is you have to take the tendencies away and force the player to go with his second shot. So they want to make sure that they've got that cross court covered. When Bilodeau goes into 5, they also have to watch Noël. Good observation, because he has been doing well out of the back row down the line.
Good recovery on defense by Laval. And there is Ken Cron once again with another winner. Back on the floor and promptly contributing. And Cron back to serve.
Cron up high. Maybe he might have overrun that just a little bit. I'm sure he would love to have kept the ball right up in front of him. And a little bit of a controversy here because the umpire, I think, did call the substitution in time. Harold Teachcraft, the referee didn't hear it, so we get a substitution coming in for Laval. Number 11, Marc St-Arnaud. He's a perfect passer, according to Pascal.
One of the things that Garth Pischke was most concerned about with his team is that they haven't lost very much. And they get a winner there and a point, and they close the gap to 4. Laval leads 13-9. To develop that a little more, 35-2, and they've only surrendered 25 points in 6 games in this tournament. They're not used to having to really struggle, I don't think.
Good observation.
That's really something that he was concerned about coming into this game.
There's that 3-man block again, but Caz doesn't worry about a 3-man block. He gets through. It's going to be a free ball coming up here now, but there's only 2 hitters. And set to the outside. Now, you notice that it was a fast shoot set out that time to Caz. And you have to be able to do that because it was just enough to slow that block down.
13-9 Laval in game 2. Oski saves that one for Manitoba. And the ball is out. Hit down the line, ruled out. Side out Manitoba.
Michel would love to have had a touch on that. Determination on Laval's team, but I think it's also a great serving demonstration.
And that ball was out of bounds, and it's side out Laval. 13-9, Michel Caz back to serve.
Let's see how tough he serves.
Well, the problem that time for Laval was defense. The winner
Well, or you could say on Manitoba's part, it was a great pass because the pass came right up there, finally right to the setter. First man in, he puts the ball down. Do you need to say anything more? If you get the good passes, you can get the side outs.
2 good plays by Darren Carlson, number 4 for Manitoba.
Manitoba would like to pride themselves in being a side out team. Laval would like to pride themselves as being a transition team.
And a winner that time for Pichette.
So back into the game, number 13, François Bilodeau, 6'5". So just a little bit further there. You can be a side-out team, and all that does is get you the serve. If you're a good transition team, then you get the points.
Come on, give me it.
Martins.
It's going to be a free ball here. See what they do. They went quick in the middle, but mistimed, and you can expect that from a young guy like François Bilodeau.
Carlson with 3 good plays in a row at the net for Manitoba. 10 serving 13. Welsh to put the ball in play for the Bison. And that time, Bilodeau got the winner.
And Bilodeau, though, is not getting great timing on there. And it shows you how effective you can be with the miss hit. Old buddy Harry Bradley at the YMCA in Victoria, he's the master of the miss hit.
Braun went after a winner, and that time, terrific work at the front by Bilodeau and by number 12, Francis Morin.
Yeah, Morin said, he says, I might be short, but he says, I make up for it in my agility, my quickness. And of course, being a former gymnast, the reason that block was was because he set it for him.
Éric Bergeron, number 2, into the game to replace Francois Morin. Bergeron, who went after that loose ball, wears number 2, 2-time Canadian college champion with Limoilou College in Quebec City. He's the backup setter, has not played a lot so far this year, but is getting a chance in the national final to spell Morin. And the ball is side out to Manitoba. And another substitution as Morin comes back in. And Bergeron takes a seat on the bench.
Tried to get a little bit more blocking in there and take Morin out just for a second.
And once again, Cron is denied at the net. And once again, it is Morin and Bilodeau that do the job.
Bilodeau is getting excited, but possibly a little bit too excited. He's exhibiting his emotional, how would you say, his cheering more towards the other side. I think he should keep it to his own side.
Carlson, long, I think. Point to Laval. And that is game number 2, 15-11. The Rouge win the game, and they lead by 2-0 in this best-of-5 final. And we'll take a break and come back with game number 3 from the Dalplex in Halifax after this.
This is a commercial for men. It's about men living longer, looking younger, feeling stronger. It's about Men's Health, the only magazine devoted to what men are concerned about most. Every issue has easy ways to eat smarter, exercise better, boost energy levels, and look and feel great. Learn how to flatten your stomach without dieting and sit-ups, how to reduce the signs of aging. Discover aphrodisiacs that rev up your sex life and reviews of the latest sports equipment. And now get 101 Men's Health secrets free when you call for your trial subscription to Men's Health. Find the secret to losing 10 pounds fast, to cutting your cholesterol 30 points in 30 days, to longer-lasting sex. For your free book and 10 issues of Men's Health for $29.97, call this toll-free number. You can cancel any time for a full refund and still keep the book. Try Men's Health today. It's about you, your health, your looks, your relationships. Isn't it about time?
The tugboats and the ferries and the harbor here in Halifax. Wonderful old city. Always a pleasure to come and visit here in the Maritimes. As March Madness CIAU style continues, lots of national championships in the next couple of weeks involving CIAU athletes and serving you and TSN. And CIU hockey with the University Cup to be decided. The semifinals to be played on Friday and Saturday, the 11th and 12th of March at 4 o'clock Eastern Time from Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto. And the two winners to meet on the Sunday. University Cup 94. That'll be a great hockey tournament. Acadia Axemen, the defending champions, won their way into the Nationals once again this weekend, winning the Atlantic Conference Championship with a lot of new people. Tom Coolin's done a terrific job at Acadia. And the Axemen are headed back, and in the meantime, Garth Pischke's sitting here talking to his players and saying, guys, we've lost 2. We're only allowed to lose 3. And in fact, if we want to win this thing, we've got to win 3 games in a row.
There's no tomorrow now. We know what it's going to feel like if we don't pull this out. We got to start talking. We got to start helping each other. We got to start talking to them, calling out the hitters, making sure here's number 13. He's going to hit the ball to 5. Don't forget, help each other out. Okay, 14, cut that. Make sure the guys in the back row know. Okay, help each other out. Let's call it. Let's make sure they know what we're thinking. Make them think a little bit out there. It's too easy for them. Come on, guys. Let's keep our heads up and go after this one.
Go, come on, guys.
Third meeting of the season between these two teams. They met the first time in November at the finals of the Manitoba tournament, and Manitoba won that. They met again in the final of the Laval tournament in Quebec City the first weekend in February, and Laval won that one.
Well, Garth was saying to me earlier, he said, it's great to be in a final. They haven't been in a final for a while. It'd be even better, he said, if they could win it. His strategy about having his players talk a little bit more to each other, obviously that's got to happen. And that's what Laval is doing so well. They're screaming at each other. They're letting each other know what's going on.
Trevor Dimitruk serves to start game 3 for Manitoba. And that one is in. A winner down the middle of the floor from Vincent Pichette.
Combination play in there. He's that beach player, and his buddy out there, Simon Noël, serving is also a beach player. He's part of that national championship team.
Good block at the net that time. Well done for Darren Carlson. Took the point away from Bilodeau, and a caution against Manitoba.
Well, I think what the booing is all about is that Bilodeau, when he was making plays, was screaming at Manitoba. Now Manitoba decided to get excited and scream back at Bilodeau, and they ended up getting a yellow card. But I think their screaming might have been a bit more of a...
Well, the good news from a Garth Pischke standpoint
is that his team's talking.
Is that his team is talking, and they were listening to what he said.
Well, I think that he really wanted them to talk to each other, but that's fine. We'll... Steve let up on that a little bit.
Oh, great volleyball. That's how the game is played. Tremendous effort at both sides of the court. And the winner goes to Jules Martins.
You got to like Martins, though, after he makes the block. I mean, he did what I used to call the Japanese run around the court. He cleared the whole court, went over and cheered with the people that were on the sideline. So Jules is really taken to order.
Now we've got a caution against Laval. So regardless of what Garth Pischke said, here are the stats for the second game, quickly. Manitoba's serve percentage down just a little bit from the first game.
Well, the 2.1, if that is Manitoba, that was better than I expected. I thought that their reception was not as good as Laval's. But it's better than what they had in game number 1.
Yes, sir. Get out!
Good winner that time once again, Carlson. The chirping on both sides of the floor has picked up here in game 3. And Brad Barton, the referee, has not liked it. There has been a caution issued to each side here so far in this third game. And the ball goes over to Quebec, to Laval, I beg your pardon. Trailing 0-1 in game 3. Laval has won the first 2 games. Scott Hosky.
Scott giving the signals to his players as to who he wants to set, what he wants to set.
Good block once again that time by Ghislain Rousseau and Simon Noël. 1-1. Oh, smart play. Carlson once again. He's played well the last game and a little bit for Manitoba. He's really been a factor in that front row.
Well, where he is a factor mainly is in his blocking, because he keeps his hands together, he shuffles across, he stays square to the net. He has a very good blocking style.
Tipped ball. Bilodeau was of half a mind whether to hit it or let it go, and in not being able to make up his mind, he made contact.
Deep float serve right into zone 1. If you put it deep enough into zone 1, you've got the people well back. Carlson again trying that deep serve. If you put the ball deep in the court, the players have to go back and play it right on the end line. Throws their entire service reception off.
Serves for Laval. And side out goes to Manitoba, and Jules Martin back to serve. Martin with the big spike serve. See if he can keep it in play here. Great save by Welch. Look at here.
Well, Jules Martin is playing really well. He's not being intimidated at all. He went right up with a hard spike serve. Then he had a ball in the back row, and he hit that one hard. Should mention that Garrett Cott is into the game. 6'5", second-year player for Manitoba. And Jules Martin. And there's Cott coming through. He said that one of the people that had influenced his career was Jerome Linnell and Dennis Pomeroy.
Cott to serve. Manitoba leads 2-1 in game 3. Laval leads in the match 2 games to 9. And that time a winner buried in the backcourt. Carlson couldn't dig it out. Pichette got credit for that point.
Asked Michel Cazes, people that had influenced him, and he said Gino Brusso.
National team member.
Gino Brusso, one of the more brilliant national team members. An alumni of Laval.
And that point will go to Quebec, to Laval. 2-2 now here in game 3.
Michel Cazes is not intimidated at all by that huge block of Manitoba. In fact, he sort of relishes it and wants to maybe get a piece of it. Well, the referee said that ball's not over. He said 4 touches. Pascal was about to get a yellow card. Brad didn't get it all the way out of his pocket. He reached for it. It's interesting. Trevor Dimitri made that serve, got the ace, and concluded by coming up and congratulating everybody in the front row. The combination X play coming through.
Well, we didn't see much of this chirping in the first couple of games, but boy, has it ever picked up here in the third. A lot of conversation, and not all of it informative or pleasant.
Yeah, maybe a little bit too much. Steve Welsh, and the thing you gotta like what Steve did there. He went up and cracked it hard, and then all he did was anchor it for himself. So he went up and hit it hard, and he came down and he did himself. He didn't do any yah-yahs to the other side.
Oh. Did Bilodeau ever hammer that winner? My goodness.
Bilodeau isn't doing too much in the word of verbal intimidation. He's just standing there and staring.
Martin's got himself a winner, hitting it right at Pichette.
Jules Martin's a very inspirational young man.
The longer the game goes, the more important the point is, the better he plays.
Free ball up to Laval is going to mean a very rapid play. When you get a free ball, that's a ball that's just coming back easy. It's like a power play in hockey. You've got the advantage, so then you've got to run it quick. Steve's starting to come back, but you notice again, though, it was a bad service reception on Manitoba, which put them in serious trouble, and the linesman is indicating there was a touch on Manitoba.
3-3. Not the best of serves from Bilodeau.
Well, they couldn't find Steve Welsh because Steve was totally out of the service reception that time.
Found him that time, and he couldn't keep the ball in play. Knocked it up into press row.
Ghislain Rousseau.
Francis Morin to serve. 3-3. Game 3. Laval leads in the match 2-0.
And Ghislain Rousseau, he said people that have influenced his career, his parents with their support. Harold Rodriguez, another person, Denis Gabore. There's also people that have influenced his career.
Good block once again. Dimitrik in the front row with help from Scott Koski. Got the job done that time. Side out Manitoba. Martins to serve for the Bison, who lead in game 3 now by 4-3. And once again, Rousseau on a gorgeous set from Francis Morin.
I asked Simon Noël who's influenced him, and he put down Vincent Pichette, a man that's influenced him as they played together. And Pierre Landry, another person that's influenced him.
3 times now in succession, Laval has messed up a serve.
Well, don't forget has changed their configuration. So now the Laval team has to think about it.
Point to the Bison, 5-3. Timeout on the floor. We'll take a break too. Game 3 of the National Men's Volleyball Final continues after this.
They say the Geo Metro has 618 liters of cargo space.
With the rear seats folded down.
So Scott had a brilliant idea of how we could get to know cargo space our own way. Scott?
Okay, if 1 goldfish equals 1 liter of space, well, you do the math.
We should get 618 of our little orange friends in there.
Ever been in a geofishy?
Why do we listen to him?
He's crazy.
Not better than the llama idea.
Yeah, but still, it didn't look like it was going to happen.
But you know what? We did it.
Was there any doubt?
Hey, you know, could say it seats 618 goldfish.
Comfortably.
Remember that Alberta and Prince Edward Island opened the 1994 Brier from the Centrium in Red Deer, Alberta, right behind us at 3 o'clock Eastern Time, 1 o'clock in Alberta. It's the first of a whole bunch of curling from Red Deer in the next week on TSN. There'll be another draw at 10 o'clock Eastern Time this evening. Mick Rauter's out there along with his able assistants and associates. Linda Moore, Ray Turnbull. Great action from the Centrium. And we hope you'll stay with us on TSN because we've got junior hockey after the Brier today. So a great day of sports television. Doesn't cost you a penny. All you got to do is be on the right channel and pull up a chair. Here in Halifax, Peter Watts and Vic Lindell with you at the National Men's Volleyball Championships. Manitoba leads Laval 5-3. We're in the 3rd game of a best-of-5 National Men's CIU Volleyball Final. And it will be Garrett Cott to serve for Manitoba.
I asked him his strengths, and he said serving and passing, so he's the right man to have on that line.
Right guys at the net that time were Trevor Dimitrik and Steve Welch. 6-3 Manitoba.
During that timeout, Garth said you better drop the gloves and get in there and fight.
What a brilliant job on defense by Manitoba. And that time they couldn't get the job done. Laval stayed with it too. Side out for the Rouge et Or.
Net violation on Laval. Steve Welsh playing a lot better now.
Well, since they've let him hit the ball and stopped putting him responsible for receiving serve, there's been substantial improvement. And Laval starting to leak a little bit defensively on the serve, too, as Cazes couldn't dig that one out of the
well, it's not like Michel, so him missing one isn't a major problem. 3-man service reception for Laval. Michel put up a good one that time, and then Vincent Pichette came in inside that time in the 2 position, came in for 22.
Simone Noël to serve for Laval, trailing 7-3 in the match, in the game rather. Welch hit the winner, whistle went before, and it's called against Francis Morin for being across the line at center court. Side out Manitoba. Scott Koski puts the ball in play.
Come on, baby. Come on, give me it.
And Welch hits another winner. Great set that time by Koski. And it's 8-3 as Koski goes back to serve for Manitoba.
Well, remember earlier that Garth had suggested that when Simone Noël comes out of the back row, he hits down the line, so you better block it that way. That's exactly what Manitoba did. There's their step around, and the step around works for François Bilodeau.
Pichette serves.
Well, that's going to be a carried ball.
4 serving 8. Manitoba had the early lead in game 1 and lost.
You see the short surge from Pichette. From his beach experience, he looks over, sees where the opening is. Goes with another short serve.
And Carlson couldn't get the ball over the net that time. Cazes went up against him. Bilodeau was close at hand as well. Garth Pischke says, I guess I've got to issue another ultimatum to my team. He calls a timeout. We'll take one as well. We're in game 3 of the National Men's Final in volleyball from Halifax.
Super crisps, super spirals. McCain, what have you done to my fries?
We've spiced them up.
All right.
We've crisped them up.
Brilliant.
We've even curled them up.
Excellent.
McCain has taken its famous super fries, dipped them in light batter, and surrounded them with bite after bite of crispy, crunchy, super spicy satisfaction, straight ahead or curled around. Super crisps and super spirals from McCain. You'll love what we fries.
A reminder to stay tuned after today's game with the TSN Turning Point, presented today by Interstate Batteries. We check them before you buy them for fresh power guaranteed.
Oh, please, just help me this once. Oh.
Next time, get a dependable Interstate battery. We check them before you buy them for fresh power guaranteed.
The medals and the rings for the winners and for the runners-up and the championship banner being ready for presentation after this match.
I was talking to Al Scott. They won the bronze medal for Dalhousie, and they won a bronze medal in the CIAU a good number of years ago. And believe it or not, that particular year they didn't give out bronze medals. So this year, Al Scott is definitely getting his bronze medal.
Cazes got what I thought was going to be a winner. Great defense by Martins. And there once again is a nice little job by Jules Martins.
You might have noticed that Francis Morin also ended up as a middle blocker. He got out of position, so he ended up having to become a middle blocker.
Morin wears number 12. And there's Bilodeau once again.
Bilodeau on that step around, faked in the middle, stepped around, got a one-on-one, put it in cross court. It's amazing that he was able to do it so well because they really only had 2 hitters there, and Manitoba being sucked in the middle by Morin was, well, certainly a good fake by Morin, not too impressive by Manitoba.
Bilodeau replaced by Sébastien Giguère for the serve. Morin sets. And Cazes gets credit for the winner as the ball is knocked out of bounds. And once again, Laval, which trailed early in the game, has closed to within within two rather. 7 serving 9.
Michel Cazes says when he graduates this year, he's hoping to go to Europe and play professional volleyball in France. Talking to Jody Holden, Jody Holden has the same plans. Jody was actually planning to go this last year and then got injured in the beach volleyball championship in Parksville. And that threw his plans off. So he ended up playing another year with Dalhousie.
Good reception by Steve Welch that time. Manitoba.
Jules Martin's coming right across that time to recover that ball. Net violation on Laval. Jules Martin was playing right front and came all the way across to cover in there behind for the tip.
Laval leads in the match by 2 games to none. Manitoba leads in game 3, 10-7.
Okay, they only got 2 hitters. Went with a quick one outside, but a little bit too low.
And Martins, did he get it in bounds? No, he did not. It goes side out to Laval.
Well, Martins was way outside the court, and so consequently he was trying to cut it right in, which he had to do, of course, so he wouldn't hit the antenna.
Into the ball game now as Darren Carlson comes out is Darren Cosson, number 10 for Manitoba.
Listen to Laval talking.
And a point to Laval as somebody from Manitoba made contact with the net. 8 serving 10 now here in game 3. That one is long as Garrett Cott tried to hit it for a winner. 9 serving 10.
Well, Darren Costner's in there now, of course, defensive specialist. Joel Shimoje is a person that had influenced him, along with Phil Hudson. But a few players put down Phil Hudson.
And Cazes hit that winner, dumping it into the open spot behind the front line. And we're even at 10 in game 3.
We're even at 10. Pascal actually thought it was more. Pascal is getting a little ahead of himself. But Michel Cazes giving a demonstration of versatility on his attacks. And there's another one. He is going through. He's doing half speeds. He's showing everything.
Garth Pischke calls another timeout, but nobody seems to be able to do anything about the incredible amount of emotion that Laval has built up and the great momentum. They are very much in charge of this match, and they are 4 points away from winning their 3rd national title in the last 5 years.
I was talking to Clément Lemieux, who's Canada's national coach right now, and I said, well, you know, Michel Cazes isn't really a really big player. I said, could you use him on the national team? He said, we can always use a player like that with that kind of spirit and enthusiasm. And that's a really good point.
Come on, Mark.
Let's hear what Garth has to say.
Get up tight when I
Come on, boys. Okay, man. Let's go. Good boy. All-Star MVP.
No problem. Come on, boys.
Right away. Banner championship trophy.
It's up to you. It's up to you. If you win this game, you're going to win the match. If you win this game, everything switches into your favor. And all you need is 5 points.
You got to work hard.
5 points. All you got to do is get this ball.
Like winning, boys.
All right? Come on, guys. Come on, guys.
Got a few
Come on, boys. Let's go, Trev.
Garth Pischke, by temperament and by nature, is a very low-key kind of guy. His intensity doesn't come out in terms of a high-volume sort of approach. I'm not sure if that kind of approach would make any difference right in this spot, but
he's got quiet intensity, Peter. Well, Steve made a good pass.
And a heck of a block at the net that time by Noël and Rousseau, and it's 12-10 Laval. It's very interesting, you know, there have been only 3 teams, as Carlson comes back in for Cosson for Manitoba. Only 3 teams from outside the Canada West and GPAC Conference have won the national tournament in 28 years of CIU men's volleyball competition. Laval's won it twice in 90 and 92. Ottawa won it in 68. Sherbrooke won it in 1975. And every other champion since the championship started in 65 has been decided. It's either been a Canada West or a GPAC school. And of course, the two conferences next year are combining into one, which is going to set up for some great volleyball with teams like Manitoba and Winnipeg coming out to Calgary and Vancouver to play the old Canada West schools. Manitoba seized a little bit of momentum here as deadlocked his match once again at 12 with Martins back to serve once again.
And it's Martins doing the job. Sure, we got a good ball right to the floor there by Garrett Cott, but who set it up? Jules Martins with his tough spike serve.
Bilodeau back on the floor for Laval.
There's the transition. Laval coming out of that transition and getting a good play, and out of that transition created a one-on-one. It's sometimes not that difficult to create a one-on-one off service reception. It's even more important to be able to do it off transition. And to do that, your middle hitter's got to get off that net and attack.
Well, Martins attacked there and buried the winner in the backcourt between Cazes and Bilodeau. Side out Manitoba, Garrett Cott to serve for the Bison, all even at 12 in Game 3 of the national final. And the winner that time goes in favor of the Rouge as Carlson couldn't keep the return in play.
Martins, when I asked him what he did for mental preparation, he says, I remind myself to have composure. And he says, I pray that I will play the best that I can. But he's looking for his composure.
Steve Welch got one over the net. And Cazes buries another in front of Carlson.
But against a team like Laval, you have to hit it hard because they're going to come back at you when you just make a tip shot.
Laval 2 points away from the national final, from the national championship. And they'll have to wait a minute because it's side out now in favor of Manitoba thanks to a winner from Steve Welch.
Steve did very well on that because, of course, they passed him and then he had to make the pass, come out of that. But with his explosiveness, he's able to get right over top of the block.
And that one's inbound. Simone Noël got credit for the winner. Side out Laval. They need 2 points to close it out in straight games. Noël to serve.
There's the transition now. And he's going to get called for a carried ball.
Morin had to go a long way to set that ball. He was right up in front of the net and he went almost back to the back corner and couldn't set it correctly. Here is Scott Koski now for Manitoba, trailing 13-12 in Game 3.
Well, the Manitoba team read that very well, but reading it and keeping the ball in are two different things. So the blockers are up there. Come on. They got to read it and hold it in. Net violation on Laval as Steve Welsh skies and puts the ball down. Steve well back on the court now with his float serve.
And what a smart play there by Laval's number 12, Francis Morin. Left-handed spike for a winner into the middle of the court. 13-12 it remains. And Bilodeau serves with a Rouge et Or.
Come on, do it!
And there's transition. And there's Cazes, but a net violation on Manitoba.
1 point away. Laval has won this tournament twice in the last 4 years, trying to make it 3 of the last 5. And they'll have to wait a minute anyway as Carlson hits the winner.
Substitution for University of Manitoba.
So Ken Braun coming back into the game.
And Noël hits another one.
Noël has been known to hit down the line from that position. This time he hit cross court. and caught coming back into the game for Ken Clark.
1-12, match point.
Transition.
There it is. The man who closes out a brilliant collegiate career, the best player in the CIU this year, hits the winning point for the national championship. They get the Rookie of the Year award, the Most Valuable Player award, the Coach of the Year award, and now they've won the one that means the most, the national championship in CIAU men's volleyball. Congratulations to the Rouge et Or of Laval University. Timeout on the floor, timeout with us as well. 3 straight, Laval beats Manitoba and wins the CIU National Men's Volleyball title. Presentations to the winners after this.
It's a road warrior, the Great Freedom Machine, the Harley-Davidson Heritage Softail Classic, the ultimate motorcycle, the first and only replica ever authorized by the Harley-Davidson Motorcycle Company. Each of its more than 100 components is painted, polished, and finished entirely by hand. To order your precision die-cast Harley, call 1-800-941-4848 now. Use your major credit card or mail a check or money order for $39.60 to the Franklin Mint. We'll bill you for the balance in 4 monthly payments of $39.60 each. Call this toll-free number now to order your Harley.
Arlen Barch, Marketing Director, Corel Corporation. Marion Marshall, Corporate Office Designer. Harold Lennett, CEO, Pimlico Apparel. There are reasons people read the Financial Post. Get the news with a business perspective and see how it can affect you and your career. Isn't it time you got it? Call today. We'll deliver 5 days a week before 6 a.m. guaranteed. Subscribe now and get 10 free issues. The Post's tabloid format is quicker to read. You'll get more stocks, more charts, more money-making and saving information. Columnists including Diane Francis take on anyone or anything. Check out the Financial Post Top 500. Even road test a hot new car. Subscribe now and get a free portfolio. Steve Coles, future president, DM Incorporated. Get the Financial Post, a free portfolio plus 10 free issues. Use your credit card. Call 1-800-267-8840 now. That's 1-800-267-8840.
Here is Diane Saint-Denis from the CIU office in
We're just
Ottawa,
waiting for the
who
TV
is
to join
now
us.
going to make the official presentation of the Tentremar Trophy. And let's
Les championship
go to
trophy
the
and
PA
banner
announcer
presented
here.
to, présenté à les capitaines de l'Université de Laval. Presented by Diane Saint-Denis, Coordinator of National Programs of the CIAU. Diane Saint-Denis, coordinatrice
very
des
proud
programmes
young
nationaux de
athlete.
l'USIC.
Michel Cazes accepts that trophy.
What does that say for Laval when they have so many first-year players, second-year players, and only Michel out there as a fifth-year player? That says that there's going to be some teams in this country wondering what they're going to have to do to win next year.
Well, there's the championship banner, which
We
will
will
be
now
taken
present
back
the All-Stars,
proudly to Laval.
les étoiles du tournoi. Presenting the awards will be Don Mayer.
And the championship banner goes back to Laval University, and there is the team photo that will be the cherished memento, I'm sure, for every one of those players. You make a good point about the youth of the Laval team. Champions in 1994, champions earlier in 1990 and 92, 5 rookies and 4 second-year players on their program, and more to come from the Dalplex in Halifax after this.
Winning depends on how far you dare to go. Victory requires talent and skill and the determination to push to the limit. Living on the Edge is brought to you by Edge Aftershave, because to win, you need the edge. The motor turns, flaps are down, the prop strains. How far can you go before the engine coughs? Wings buckle, and metal and plexiglass surrender. With precision and skill, stunt flyers take it to the edge, competing against each other and gravity itself. A ballet of exquisite danger and beauty. Living on the Edge has been brought to you by Edge Aftershave. Ultimate comfort, that's the edge.
Now it's time for the TSN Turning Point, brought to you by Interstate Batteries. The turning point, the winning point in this match, Vic.
Well, there's no question that the reason we're picking this as a turning point is because it shows clearly the transition game. Taking your time, making that play, and even though it was a broken play and there's two people up to block him, Michel Cazes gets the ball through.
A cash donation will be made to the Coaching Association of Canada for the training and development of Canadian coaches in amateur sport on behalf of TSN and Interstate Batteries. We check them before you buy them for fresh power guaranteed. Another break here from the Dalplex in Halifax. The trophy and award presentations continue. Back with a final word after this.
You know, winning a Super Bowl was great, but now I'm winning with Interstate Batteries.
We won the ultimate NASCAR race.
We won the Daytona 500.
Get an Interstate battery wherever you see this sign. We check them before you buy them. For fresh power, guaranteed.
Imagine visiting yourself in the future.
Wow, look who's here. I know you. Sure do. I'm you 25 years later. What am I doing here? We spend our winters here. Did we win the lottery? No lottery. Freedom 55.
Only your London Life representative offers Freedom 55. Protection today, plus a financial plan that works, so one day you won't have to.
And when did we start driving convertibles? About the same time we started surfing. Surfing?
This is a commercial for men. It's about men living longer, looking younger, feeling stronger. It's about men's health, the only magazine devoted to what men are concerned about most. Every issue has easy ways to eat smarter, exercise better, boost energy levels, and look and feel great. Learn how to flatten your stomach without dieting and sit-ups, how to reduce the signs of aging. Discover aphrodisiacs that rev up your sex life and reviews of the latest sports equipment. And now get 101 Men's Health Secrets free when you call for your trial subscription to Men's Health. Find the secret to losing 10 pounds fast, to cutting your cholesterol 30 points in 30 days, to longer-lasting sex. For your free book and 10 issues of Men's Health for $29.97, call this toll-free number. You can cancel any time for a full refund and still keep the book. Try Men's Health today. It's about you, your health, your looks, your relationships. Isn't it about time?
Get set for 6 days worth of hard rock and excitement at the 1994 Labatt Brier. TSN delivers all the excitement round by round. Beginning today on your championship curling source, Real TV, TSN.
Yes, in English, yes.
17-15, 15-11, 15-12. In straight sets, the Laval Rouge et Or defeat the Manitoba Bisons for Laval's third national championship in the last 5 years. Pascal Clément, the head coach, and Michel Cazes, the player of the year and the guy that made the winning point in his last game, are with us here now. Gentlemen, congratulations. A terrific performance, in particular, I thought, after a very tough match against Dalhousie in the semifinal last night.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's great. It's our last match this season, and we deserve it.
You're taking tomorrow off, are you?
Oh, yes. Maybe a week off, yeah, of course.
Michel, I remember you as a rookie in this program 5 years ago. This is a tremendous accomplishment, I'm sure, for you to be able to go out a winner once again with another national title.
Yeah, it was the same game. I mean, for the emotion as my first year. Everybody was in the game, and we did it. It's great.
I just want to ask the one question now. you're up against a three-man block. It's big. It's awesome. What are you thinking about?
I'm thinking, you know, I hit hard and I hope for the best sometimes, but we have to look at the ends and try some shot. You know, it depends on the feeling I've got.
What about when you're back there serving? The serving was very effective for your team.
Yeah.
Why?
Why? If we can put them in trouble at the pass, it's good for us because we are not very good blockers. So if we can know where, if we know where the ball will go, it's easier for us.
Yeah. Exactly. So you'd concur that your serving was very effective.
Yeah, I think we did much better than yesterday against Dalhousie. At the end, yesterday night, we served a little bit slow, and tonight, just at the third set, I mean, they switched their spike curve, moving from the floor to the other side, and we just tried to make a short serve, which is more difficult, and our number 6, Vincent, did a great job, 3 in a row, just in the 3 meters line, so, and he changes the rhythm. So we came back on the game.
His experience from beach volleyball?
Yeah, his experience, he can do everything. Yeah.
Let me jump in here for a second, if it's okay. Every coach and every athlete who plays any sport knows how difficult it is to come down from one performance, particularly as tough a one as you had last night, and get ready to play another match less than 24 hours later. Did you say anything to this team? Did you have to say anything to this team to get them ready for today?
I mean, sleep well and just keep relaxed. We didn't focus too much with emotion. You know, usually we have a meeting with emotion and we have to do that and this. And this morning we just focus on what to do tactically and technically, and emotions comes on the game. I know that, so I didn't put pressure on that.
It looked like you were a little off in the early stages of game number 1, but it didn't take long to seize the momentum once you won that first game. Yeah. A huge lift to be down by 4 and come back to win it.
Yeah, but we did the same during the year. We played BC, which is tall, during the year. We played Pepperdine University, and the guys did always the same. They just wait 5 minutes and start to play, but just looking in the other side and just at the end, okay, you want to play like that?
Peter, I have a question for Michel. Comment on François Bilodeau.
Francois is a very good blocker. I think everybody has seen the game. I've seen the same thing as me. Because have you seen the block he did against Crown? It was incredible. Pump it up the team and...
What about his emotion?
We got to jump in here.
Sometimes he's strange, but it's good. It's good for the team.
I think, Michel, you leave the program in good hands. Congratulations to both of you gentlemen on a terrific accomplishment here against a very good Manitoba team. We have a moment to remind you that the Labatt Brier follows next from the Centrium in Red Deer. Vic Roeder and company will be on hand. Alberta and Prince Edward Island to get the draw started at 3 o'clock Eastern Time, 1 o'clock in Alberta. We hope you'll enjoy some great action from the Alberta Brier. Here's the final shot once again, a shot etched in the memory of Michel Cazes, who makes the winner in his last appearance in CIU men's volleyball. From the left side, Cazes comes across, hits the winner into the Manitoba court. And the Rouge et Or, 17-15, 15-11, 15-12 in 3 straight games. Champions of the CIU in men's volleyball for the 3rd time in the last 5 years. Terrific program that wins another national championship. And for now, for all of us here, for Mick Lindell, I'm Peter Watts. Thanks for being with us. So long from the